Hey everyone, today's it is about when you get kidnapped and they find you a bit too late. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and let's get going. The last thing you remember was the cold metal of the chair beneath you, the rough ropes cutting into your wrists, and the faint smell of damp earth. You had been kidnapped. You didn't know why or by who, but you knew one thing. You trusted them enough to find you. Bakugo and Kirishima, your lovers, your heroes, they always found a way. But this time was different. You had been missing for 3 days, 3 agonizing days of darkness, pain, and silence. Your captors didn't speak much, only taunting you with vague threats and cruel laughter. You held on to hope, though. You held on to the memory of Bakugo's rough hands brushing against your cheek. His gruff voice whispering, "I'll always find you, dumbass." And he held on to Kirishima's bright smile, his unwavering optimism as he promised, "We'll never let anything happen to you." But as the hours turned into days, that hope that you had began to fade away. On the fourth day, the door to your prison slammed open. Light flooded the room, and for a moment, you thought it was them. You thought they had come to save you, but instead, it was your captors, their faces twisted into cruel grins. One of them stepped forward, a knife glinting in his hand. "Sorry, sweetheart," he sneered. "Looks like your heroes are too late, and you're taking up too much space in our presence. We'll have some new ones soon." You didn't even have time to scream. When Baku and Kirishima finally burst into the room, it was silent. Too silent. The air was thick with the metallic scent of blood, and the sight that greeted them shattered their hearts. You were slumped in the chair, your head hanging limply to the side. The ropes around your wrists were stained red, and the floor beneath you was literally a pool of crimson. Your eyes were closed, your face pale and lifeless. "No," Kirishima whispered, his voice trembling. He fell to his knees beside you, hands shaking as he reached out to touch your face. "No, this can't be real. Wyan." Bakugo stood frozen in the doorway, his fists clenched so tightly that his nails dug into his palms. His chest heaved with ragged breaths, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Oh, Wyan, wake up," he growled, his voice low and dangerous. "This isn't funny. Wake the hell up." But you didn't move. You didn't respond. Kirishima's hands moved to your shoulders, shaking you gently. "Come on, Wyan. Please. Please wake up." His voice broke, tears streaming down his face. "We're here now. We're here. Please, just Wyan." Bakugo finally stepped forward, his movements stiff and robotic. He knelt beside Kirishima, his hand reaching out to brush a strand of hair from your face. His touch was uncharacteristically gentle, fingers trembling against your cold skin. "Dumbass," he muttered, his voice cracking. "You were supposed to wait for us. You were supposed to." He couldn't even finish the sentence. His head dropped, his forehead resting against your shoulder, as his body shook with silent sobs. Kirishima wrapped his arms around you, pulling you close as if he could somehow bring you back. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We were too late, Lan." He choked out, voice barely audible. The room was filled with the sound of their grief, their anguish echoing off the cold stone walls. They had failed you. They had promised to protect you and to keep you safe. But they failed. Days later, they stood side by side at your grave, the weight of their loss heavy on their shoulders. Kirishima's eyes were red and swollen, his usual bright demeanor replaced by a hollow emptiness. Bakugo's jaw was clenched, his hands shoved deep into his pockets as he stared at the ground. "I should have been faster," Bakugo muttered, his voice low and bitter. I I should have done something. Kirishima shook his head, tears welling up in his eyes again. It's not your fault, Bakugo. It's really not. The hell it's not. Bakugo snapped, his voice rising. I promised her. I promised her that I'd protect her, and I. His voice broke, and he turned away, his shoulders shaking. Kirishima reached out, placing a hand on his back. We both did, he said quietly. But. But she wouldn't want us to blame ourselves. She'd want us to keep going, and to keep fighting, but never forget her. Bakugo didn't respond, but he didn't pull away either. They stood there in silence, the weight of their grief binding them together. That night, they sat in your apartment, surrounded by the remnants of your life together. Your favorite blanket was draped over the couch, your half-finished book still sitting on the coffee table. It felt like you were still there, like you would walk through the door at any moment, smiling and laughing like you always did when you made a prank. But you wouldn't. It wasn't a prank this time. You were gone. Kirishima picked up the book, running his fingers over the pages. Remember how she always used to read out loud to us? He said, his voice soft. Even when we told her that we didn't care about any of her stories. Bakugo snorted, a small, bitter smile tugging at his lips. Yes, it was annoying as hell. Kirishima chuckled, but it was truly hollow. He didn't have any emotions after he left. I miss her, he whispered, his voice breaking. I miss her so much. Bakugo didn't say anything, but he didn't have to. The pain in his eyes said it all, as it reflected Kirishima's own pain. They would never be the same after losing you. A part of them had died with you, leaving behind an emptiness that could never be filled. But they had each other, and they would keep going. For you, for the love you had shared. And maybe, just maybe, that would be enough, at least for some time being, until they learn to live on without you, still keeping you in their hearts and their minds. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and goodbye!